Africans had a huge presence here in colonial Pensacola. The number of European settlements grew in North America, so did the number of enslaved Africans being imported and traded. Between 1775 and 1805, 4 documented slave ships, the Sucesso, the Black Prince, the Fly, and the Beggar's Benison, carried over 350 enslaved Africans to Pensacola. Britain gained control of Pensacola in 1763 and made it the capital of their West Florida colony. As part of their effort to develop Pensacola into a more thriving settlement, the British increased the importation of enslaved Africans and enacted new slave codes similar to those of their other North American colonies. Despite these policies, because of its relative remoteness, Pensacola became a refuge for enslaved people who had escaped from other nearby colonies. Racial lines in Pensacola blurred after Spain reclaimed West Florida following the American Revolutionary War. By 1811, Panton, Leslie and Company had moved the headquarters of their Native American trading operation to Pensacola and brought at least 1,260 enslaved African captives with them. Their skills and cultural practices were foundational to the development of Pensacola. Now would you look at there? Rise and shine, good people. The sun is almost on the horizon and it's about to rise, and I am here in Pensacola, Florida. This is my first vlog that I have done in the state of Florida, and I want to start things off in the beautiful city of Pensacola. Pensacola, the city of Pensacola was named after the Pensacola Native American tribe who originally inhabited the land of West Florida and South Alabama. You know, like the Florida Panhandle, things of that nature. And the Muskogean tribe also originally inhabited the land, what is now known as Pensacola. It's a beautiful early morning. As you can see, the birds, the seagulls flying. And this is Pensacola Bay, where this is where the city of Pensacola is situated, alongside the Pensacola Bay, but it's situated across the Pensacola Bay from a string of beaches known as the Emerald Coast. And the Emerald Coast has a series of beaches that set along the Gulf of Mexico, and we'll see those later on. But this is Pensacola, Florida. It's not even 6 a.m. yet, and so the sun hasn't fully came out, but you do see the morning skies. This is around the bayfront area, and what you see right here looks like a fueling area for the vessel over here, which is a little ship right here. This is, by the way, I'm gonna go around the other way, but this is on the bayfront, so they do have a marina where a bunch of ships and other boats come and congregate. So this is what's known as the Plaza de Luna Memorial Monument. And this statue right here is Tristan de Luna y Arellano. And this statue commemorates and exemplifies the extensive Spanish connection with Pensacola. So in 1559, he led an expedition to Pensacola Bay to establish Santa Maria de Ochus, a settlement that predated the founding of Jamestown by half a century and St. Augustine by a half dozen years. Interesting. So Pensacola, technically, you may as well say, is the oldest settlement in America. I always thought it was Jamestown or St. Augustine, but Pensacola is actually older than St. Augustine. But the nickname of Pensacola is the Five Flags, the city of Five Flags, because it was controlled by 5 different entities. You had, Spain was the original. Then you had, after Spain, it was France, which is what you see right here. And then it was also controlled by Great Britain. See, and it was controlled by the Confederate States. And that was during the time of the Civil War, of course. And finally, the United States took over. And this was as a result of the Adams-Onis Treaty between the United States and Spain. And after July of 1821, Andrew Jackson became the first United States governor of Florida. Okay. The change of flag ceremony in Pensacola took place that permanently transferred Florida from Spain to the United States. But that was in 1821. So basically Pensacola was under the control of 5 different flags, hence the name, the city of 5 flags. So Pensacola, as we're going to see, there's a lot of Spanish style architecture. And here, right here is one of the major restaurants. It's called Jayco's Bayfront Bar and Grill. Here it is right here, and it literally sits on the bayfront of Pensacola Bay. As we make our way from the bayfront heading towards downtown, and I'm walking down what's known as Palafox Street. But here is the marina I was alluding to earlier. There's a couple of the boats over here. Couple more ships over here. Pensacola is one of the principal cities located on the Florida Panhandle, which is the western part of Florida. So the majority, Florida is divided into 2 time zones, the central and the eastern time zone. The western Panhandle, which includes Pensacola, of course, and the aforementioned Emerald Coast cities and beaches, they're located in the central time zone, but the vast majority of the rest of the state is located within the eastern time zone. And before I continue, I want to get this right here. It's the Palafox. It says Palafox Place, and it has what looks like a seagull with it's either a seagull or a pelican. I can't really tell, but either way, it's a bird with a huge bill and huge wings, and you can see a mermaid and a couple of fishes right there. I thought that was very captivating. As I continue down Palafox Street, it looks like they're building some luxury condos and townhomes close to the bayfront. They're doing some construction over there on that side. Looks like this side over here is pretty much done. Now, they might still be, it looks like a lot of this side is pretty much finished. They might still need to do a little bit more work on it though, but looks nice. They have that kind of like beige, peach color, whatever color that is, like a white colored brick. That's interesting.
Morning.
At the corner of Palafox and Cedar Street. I'm still tripping over the fact that Pensacola is like the oldest settlement. I always thought it was St. Augustine, so that was like a revelation to me right there. It even predates St. Augustine and Jamestown. So downtown Pensacola, you have the Cultural Center, which is 2 blocks away, and Museum of Art. Historic District's 4 blocks away, and you have a Maritime Park and Stadium 3 blocks away, and Plaza Ferdinand 2 blocks away. Okay. Now at the corner of Palafox and Main Street. The Bank of Pensacola. It's a nice building that it's in, that it's housed in. It's like a 2-story, has a balcony. I've never seen a bank housed in such a building like that. It's interesting. Look at these sculptures of these bicycles. Now I'm over here at Zaragoza and Palafox. So we're basically now pretty much in the core of downtown Pensacola. Oh, that's nice. That's neat right here. See, 1559, America's first settlement trail, which was established in 2022. So this is supposed to be like a kiosk or something. Apparently they're having technical issues. So I'm gonna proceed. But right here, I'm at this park called Plaza Ferdinand. Plaza Ferdinand the 7th. So it had to have been one of those Spanish explorers. You can see the cannons right here. There go another cannon over here. So this is a plaza. It's architected in the form of a square. And this has who else but General Andrew Jackson. You have his statue right here. There goes another one of those markers, erected by the Pensacola Historical Society. So it pretty much just rehashes what I stated earlier about this being the flags of the Five Flags city. Soldier, statesman, public benefactor. Here goes the fountain right here at Plaza Ferdinand. I think that's an art museum or art gallery, but it says Escambia County Courthouse. So I'm not sure if that is still a courthouse or if it's a courthouse that was converted to an art gallery. Not quite sure, but I see two different things. I see banners that says Artel Art Gallery, and I see etched in the stone is Escambia County Courthouse. So not quite sure. Either way, it's an historical building, but it looks like it's a courthouse. Let me go a little closer. It might be a little bit of both. It might be the Escambia County like building that has all the like courts and administrative buildings, administrative services rather, and then it might be an art gallery that's housed like on the main floor. That's what I'm thinking. That's what that looks like over here. Look at that. Check this out. This is a nice sculpture, by the way, whoever did this. But it's a Garden of Hope right here, and this is a pelican that says donate life. I find that interesting. It says donate, but then right here it says tax collector. Like, I don't think we have an option to donate taxes. I wish we did, but we don't have an option. The tax collector is going to collect whether we like it or not. But yeah, this is Escambia County Supervisor of Elections. So the election, speaking of the major election is coming up in a few months. Presidential election, that's going to be interesting. Of course, they're going to have municipal elections around that time as well. I had to come over to this side of the street because the brother over there is pressure washing the street, making sure these bricks stay nice and pristine. Look at the architecture of this building right here. This is the Sanger Theater. As I mentioned earlier, it does have that Spanish architecture. As you can tell by the roof. And everything like that. Those 5 flags right there. Of course, they have to have a seafood restaurant, being that we're right here by the bay. It's called by Slick Lips. See a lot of these trees too, they have the string lights around them. That's pretty neat. They have a surf shop right here. Being that we're not far from the beach, you know they're gonna have a lot of those. This is called the Thiessen building, this building right here. I'm gonna try to get as much of it as I can. This is the first commercial high-rise structure within the city of Pensacola. It was constructed in 1901. And it was erected by contractors Wills and Broughton. So it's a 5-story structure, and it was the first commercial high-rise building in Pensacola. So of course, you're going to have a series of salons, small businesses, jewelry stores, restaurants, It's a lot of that going on over here on Palafox Street. There's another there's a marker right here that commemorates the Pensacola lunch counter sit-in. So it was at the corner of Palafox and what's this? It's over here by the U.S. courthouse. So you have what was known as this building right here. It had occupied, or is occupied by, the Woolworths department store. So I'm pretty sure for those who know a lot about the civil rights history, you might be familiar with a department store known as Woolworths. But it was a 5 and dime store, and it played a role in the struggle for civil rights. So again, it was this building right here, and it was just a site where there were a lot of sit-ins that were, the participants were a lot of the NAACP members and a lot of African Americans who protested against the lunch counters being segregated and being designated as whites only. So of course there were a lot of protests, and of course of people getting arrested, and the whole thing that goes along with protesting and activism. So Pensacola took part in that as well, the civil rights protests and things of that nature. They had, so it was in the NAACP had a multitude of chapters across the country. So it wasn't just your Montgomerys and your Birminghams and your Greensboro, North Carolinas. It was all over the country where there was protests and things of that nature. There's another Pelican right here. Has the Navy on it, the U.S. Navy. The Blue Angels Paint Shop 2020 are the ones who put this together. Oh, by the way, another thing, Pensacola is home to the Naval Air Station. So it's a naval city. And they actually have an aviation museum. So they have a naval air station here in Pensacola, but they have a museum, if I'm not mistaken, an aviation museum. And one of the most famous airplanes where they have air shows are the Blue Angels. The Blue Angels, they have a lot of them out here in Pensacola. They're housed on the military bases here. So I had to bring that up because I just saw that Navy painted Pelican over there. And right there, that's the U.S. courthouse. As a matter of fact, let me go over here. So they had the First Methodist Church was situated over here, right over where the courthouse, the U.S. courthouse now stands. As you can see right here, it was established in 1821 by Alexander Talley, MD. It met in a series of small wood frame churches until 1881, when construction of a 3-story Romanesque revival sanctuary has begun on this site. So the building, there was a building that was built here in 1890. So of course the congregation, they had to meet up wherever they could meet until they actually got a full-fledged church built. U.S. courthouse right here. Doesn't look like it's been here that long. It looks really polished. This right here is a Catholic church. See Basilica of Saint Michael, the Archangel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but in layman's terms, it's the Catholic Church. This is called the Winston E. Arno Federal Building. So we're kind of part of the city well, we are in the part of the city of Pensacola, the downtown area, where there's a bunch of federal buildings and county buildings as well. But and even the federal courthouse building has that Spanish architecture, those roofs that are very distinctive. You could tell a lot of time in these cities by their buildings what countries or different nations had influence over them or had control over them and everything. A lot of times by the architectural styles. Still here in Pensacola. So this is the Seville quarter of Pensacola. The Seville district. That's the actual, I think the Seville quarter was the name of that restaurant, but the actual area where it's located is called the Seville Historic District. So it's like a restaurant, a wine and gift shop over here. Look at the structure of these buildings. It's real old school. So I guess this part is kind of like being that it's a Seville district. I guess it's really pretty much looks like French architecture. It looks like something similar to what you'll see like in Mobile or like New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? Rosie O'Grady's. Also a fire truck, okay. One of them old school fire trucks. Looks more like a buggy, more or less than a truck, but it's a fire vehicle. I know, that's all I know. So look at those buildings, like they got the balconies with the wrought iron materials. This is the Museum Plaza. So this is, I'm coming up on the historic Pensacola Village. Welcome to historic Pensacola Historic Trust. Here's some locomotives right here for a railroad. Look at these historical buildings. Like, check this out right over here. This is called the Julie College, or Cottage, Julie Cottage, 1805. It was owned by Julie, and that's spelled J-U-L-E-E. Noted free woman of color. So this cottage right here was owned by Julie. First time I've heard of her, so I definitely want to do some digging on her as far as research. And this building right here is called the Tivoli High House. As you can see, how old this building is. And it too was constructed in 1805. So we're talking early 19th century. This one is called the Manuel Barrios Cottage. And this one is called the McMillan House, 1885. So the McMillan House was 1885 and the Barrios Cottage over here is 1888. So these were post-Civil War buildings right there. And there goes another historical house. It's called the Lear Rockblave House. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It was constructed in 1890. So it's a lot of cottages. This one's 1810. This is called the Walton Cottage. I keep saying college. I meant to say cottage. They have the porch swing right there. And actually it houses a bridal shop. So some of these buildings are just historical buildings with like that house museums, or they house actual like functional businesses. I believe this is a restaurant right here. With this nutcracker right here on the front porch. It's called the Merino Cottage, and it was built in 1879. And of course, there goes a church right there. And this right here is called the Pensacola Bay Brewery. And it's housed in the McCullough building that was built in 1946. As you can see right here, this is the Pensacola Bay Brewery, established in 2009. So I like how they maintain these buildings despite the fact many of them are over 200 years old. And here's the Christ Church right here. Constructed in 1832. So it's coming up on 200 years since that building was built. And it's the oldest church building in Florida, still standing on its original site. So there goes the marker right here. So a lot of old historical homes in this area right here. And here goes the park. Right here in the heart of the historic village. This is my first visit to Pensacola, and so far I'm impressed. And this is just the main city part of it. We haven't even got to the coast where they have Pensacola Beach and a slew of other beaches down the Emerald Coast. As you see the sprinklers. keeping the grass nice and wet. Let me go the other way. And here's the William Bartram Memorial Park right here. Pensacola Maritime Heritage Trail. So they were just basically talking about all the warfare that took place back in the late 1600s into the early 1700s between Spain, France, and Great Britain, basically trying to establish control of the colony. So there was a ton of wars that took place during that time period. I like this sculpture right here. It's called the Folding Plains, established in 2013 by sculptor Kevin Box. That's Kevin Box. And his sculpture tells the story of a piece of paper dreaming of flying and is given in honor of all those whose dreams took flight here. Okay. Okay. This sculpture is called the Overture, and it's by sculptor by the name of Jeremy Guy. That's dope. That's dope. So it's a relatively small park. It's right here by the water. Again, a slew of ships and boats over here. And they have a little seating area right here. But yeah, here's the marina right here. And a bunch of boat houses and boats. It's a nice sculpture, just not sure who sculpted it because there's no information on it, but it's a nice sculpture nevertheless. And again, that was the William Bartram Memorial Park. Right here, this is the Port of Pensacola mooring anchor. So in the late 1800s, there were constant exports and imports around the city of Pensacola, which brought a lot of ships to and from the city. So this anchor just commemorates that time period where there were a lot of ships that were coming in and out of Pensacola. And the port of Pensacola expanded after the Civil War because limited space was available for ships to dock along the city's wharves and piers. So mooring anchors like this one were lowered into Pensacola Bay to allow ships to moor, aka tie up, while waiting to enter the port. So yes, we all know that the anchors are very important when it comes to the ships. Stabilize the ships. So actually where we just were was the around the port of Pensacola. over here at the corner of Main Street and Barrack Street. I'm over here at this really nice park. It's called, I think it's called Discover Park or something like that. Here's John Wesley Harding. Guess he was part of the Texas Rangers. But here's the park right here. So they have a playground. It's called Discovery Square. This is the name of the playground. So they have like wooden playground equipment. That's interesting. I'm not sure what this is. I think it might be. It looks like a stage for performances. So I guess you can come here and check out a musical event if they have one. And right here, some artwork. You know, I love this part. This is by, I can't read that because it's like in cursive. I'm not sure who the artist is to that. But this is nice. It's a nice sculpt, nice painting. It's like a lady that's, can't tell what she's doing with the cat, but it has like a, looks like a piece of ham right there. But shout out to the artist, Dylan _ Nads Addy _ art. That looks nice right there as well. Pensacola, love since 1559. Okay. Got the guitar. They go to Blue Angels right there. And explore Perdido Key, the natural paradise. So that's a state park, Perdido Key State Park over there on the Gulf of Mexico. So they're promoting that. Pensacola Beach, I do plan on going there. Yes, indeed. Ah, this is dope right here. It's like it's supposed to be like a cat with some headphones on, vibing to some music. Got his sneakers on, and got the hoodie on with the Earth on it, Planet Earth. Under Pressure by Queen. Shout out to Hannah Legg, who was the artist of this painting. Hannah Legg, that's Legg with 2 G's, and at Hansen, Hannsn legs. And this was 2024, so this was just, they just put that together recently. That's dope. That's dope. Shout out to Aidan Garcia and Al Armin. I hope I'm not mispronouncing their names, but these look like what are these birds? Are they pelicans or are these storks? I can't tell, but they're one of those with those, again, those giant mouths. Wow, that's deep. You have bones on the shore, like skeletons, and I guess it looks like you have people right here. You have one dude right here on his knees praying, and you have a couple of them. You have one that's hanging on to the mouth of the large bird right here. Oh wow. There's a message to that. I'm not quite sure what it is, but so over here it's a nice little seating area, but remember what I said earlier about the multiple times that Pensacola and West Florida in general has been taken over by different entities. Now you had you know, it was under British control. In 1763, a treaty transferred Spanish Florida to the British, and Pensacola became the capital of West Florida. So you had the British period of rule. You had the Spanish period of rule right over here, the first Spanish period. So Spanish colonists officially moved to what is now downtown Pensacola in 1756 after a series of hurricanes destroyed their settlement on Santa Rosa Island. So I guess there were two periods where Pensacola was under Spanish rule. Here's the second Spanish period. That's nice. Florida's protected species. You have a turtle. You have a mouse playing what looks like a banjo on a turtle shell. And you have a bird right here with a hat with a flower on it. And you have another mouse right here. It looks like, you know, with a tin can, whatever this is. I don't know what that is, but it has a tin can attached to it. And there's this mouse right here. It looks like he's clacking two spoons together. It looks like they're making music, basically. And a series of aquatic animals right here in different colors. Now I wonder if this is the same artist, because it doesn't have any thing on this one. So I wonder if this was the Hannah Legs done those other two. The Way to Beach. Visit Pensacola.com. Okay. Well, before I leave this park, let me get this marker right here. Now this marker commemorates the bicentennial of Spain transferring Florida to the United States. So the bicentennial occurred in 2021, which is 3 years ago. And it was on July 17th, 1821. Celebrations in Pensacola marked the United States official acquisition of Spanish Florida. The people in attendance represented Pensacola's diverse, multicultural, and multi-ethnic population. Many of them now rest in nearby St. Michael Cemetery. Okay, so you have, you know, of course, again, Spain transferring control of Pensacola over to the United States in 1821. So Pensacola has been shifted around to, as far as the entities that were controlling it. So it was Britain, it was Spain in 2 different periods, it was the United States, and it was the Confederate States, all of that. And this is just the colonial archaeological trail, wells and cellars, the American period. Now keep in mind, all of these different like periods of control of West Florida and Pensacola by the Spanish and in Great Britain. Florida didn't become a state until 1845. I just read that on one of the markers. 1845. So basically, prior to that, Florida was basically Spanish Florida. Now this is Pensacola's Children's Museum right here. Oh, this can be a county court of record building. This building right here is called the Pensacola Cultural Center. And this building over here is the Pensacola Museum of Art. In that Spanish architecture, as you can see. That wraps up downtown Pensacola. So stay tuned for the next one because we got more coming up. But that concludes the downtown Pensacola video. So stay tuned for the next one. I appreciate you guys for looking. And if you like, comment, like, and subscribe to the video, or like the video and subscribe. I appreciate you guys, and until next time, peace.